Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to dominate your career, then you are in the right place. This podcast is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, ex-Googler, diversity expert, and senior corporate leader. From inspiring stories to cutting-edge strategies, you'll learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and tool set to get future-ready fast and accelerate your success. Welcome to the Beyond Barriers Habits and Hacks Show. Tell me if this sounds familiar. It's 6 a.m. and the alarm goes off, and you hit snooze just to try to catch a few more minutes of sleep. Then the alarm goes off again, and you hit snooze just one more time. And on the third try, you finally get out of bed, you grab your phone, and you check your email. And you see several messages from your colleagues about something urgent that needs your attention. Now, you'd hope to get a workout this morning, but instead, you're responding to emails and putting out fires at work. You feel the anxiety bubbling up already, and you haven't even brushed your teeth yet. Now, does this sound like your morning routine? In today's episode, we'll share with you the morning routine of successful people and how you can stop the frenzy and start the day with magic. So first off, let's talk about why this matters.
Here's why this matters. If you want to be successful, you need the guardrails of good habits to make every single day count. Mm-hmm. Whatever results we get in the long term are really the results of the choices we make in the short term. It's what we do every day that adds up to what happens in the long haul. So if you are someone who works out every single day, you are bound to be fit and healthy for the rest of your life. On the other hand, if you have bad eating habits and you have, sort of maybe not the best choices in your diet, then you're going to see the results of that in the long haul. So it really comes down to, what you do every day. And that's why the most successful people are very intentional in how they design their days. But here's the thing. How we start our day determines what our day turns out to be like. So if you reverse all of that and say, okay, I want to have a great life. I want to be very successful in my life. Then you have to think about what does each day look like. Right. But if you want your day to be great, you really have to be intentional about how you start that day, what your morning looks like. That's why mornings are so critical and such a huge factor in terms of determining long-term success. Right. And that's why it's been proven that most successful people have a very sort of defined and intentional start to their day. And that's exactly what each of us can do, because this is not rocket science. It's not something that's impossible for any of us to follow. And the beauty is that if you can simply follow that same technique, you can have a very different outcome for each day and therefore for the rest of your life. So instead of falling into the trap of letting your alarm, your email notifications, or other people's priorities determine what your morning looks like, it's important for you to set boundaries and design the right environment and create the right routines for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about how to design the right environment and routine. What does the right environment entail? And then what does a routine look like? So as far as the right environment is concerned, you really have to create the right physical space and the right mind space for yourself. Now, there is no one size fits all simply because everyone's personal situation is different, right? So depending on whether you live alone or you have a big family in your home or whether you have kids or not. I mean, there's a lot of different elements and everyone's experience is different. However, what you need to figure out for yourself is no matter what your living conditions or situation is like, no matter where you live or how many people you live with, you have to figure out what is the best time and the best space for you to create that physical and mental space for yourself. Makes sense. So if that means you need to wake up an hour before the rest of your family, if that means you need to find, a spot in your garage or basement or your kitchen or someplace that you think you can create a little safe haven, if you will, you need to figure out what that physical environment and what the right time is for you. There is really no one size fits all. So take the time to face the reality of your situation and then simply make that decision. decide, do you want to give yourself that 30 minutes prior to everyone else waking up, decide where that space is going to be, and then commit to that.
Right. So what does that routine look like? So you've created your space, and it's kind of the space where you said, okay, I'm going to set these boundaries and no one is going to take this like safe haven, this safe space away from me. Then what next?
So the next thing is, now you've got a set time when you're going to dedicate to yourself, and you've got a set space that is yours, where you have that privacy, where you have that mind space. Now it comes down to the routine that you follow. So here's a 5-step routine, and this is very, very common amongst all successful leaders. So it's a great guide to follow. And even if it seems completely unnatural or different from what you're used to doing every morning, want you to keep an open mind and just consider this. And at first, it might be a little awkward. It might be a little unfamiliar, but I can assure you, if you keep doing this over time, it'll become part of your habit just as much as waking up and brushing your teeth. You're going to fall into this routine as well.
Okay.
So let me walk through the 5-step routine.
Okay.
So step 1, when you wake up, the first thing you want to do is resist the urge to grab your phone, check the news, or check your email. You want to start off with a meditation practice. Okay. Now, a lot of people know about the power of meditation, but not very many practice it every day. Personally, I've found the power of meditation to be absolutely transformative. And it's something that simply takes practice. Like anything, it's something that you have to keep practicing over and over again. So you can choose whether you want to, start off your meditation practice with a guided meditation, like using an app, or just a few moments of silence where you focus on your breathing. And remember, meditation isn't about prayer or religion. It's simply a way for you to become mindful and focus on the present moment. Because the alternative to that, when we don't start off with that kind of mindfulness, is that we wake up and we're immediately transported into worrying about what's next. Feeling anxiety about the future, or we are still moping about something that happened yesterday, and we're still caught up in those feelings and those emotions. So what meditation does is that it brings us into the present, where we ignore the past and we don't worry about the future. We're simply in the present. And that practice is incredibly powerful, not just as a way to start your day, but once you learn mindfulness, it makes you more focused in anything you're doing, whether it's work or play. You're relishing the present moment, and it makes you more aware of yourself. It makes you more aware of what matters. And if you do this practice every single day, you're slowly going to develop the habit of mindfulness as something you carry with yourself all day. Okay. So meditation, which makes sense, because I remember when I was trying to learn and practice to be more focused in work, one of the tools was practice meditation. And now it makes sense where you're saying meditation isn't about some sort of spiritual or religious thing. It's more creating that muscle of how you focus and you be present in that moment. Because when we're working or doing something, we're living in such a distracted world, right? Or your laptop, it has a whole bunch of different notifications going off. Your phone is dinging
and buzzing.
Exactly. There's a lot of distractions happening all at the same time. So to be fully present in whatever it is you're doing, to be actually thinking and be aware, and to do the highest quality work and make the highest quality decisions, focus and being present is extremely important. And that doesn't just happen by saying, I'm going to concentrate. You know, it comes from learning the muscle of mindfulness, and meditation is a phenomenal way to do that. That's why it's such a great way to start your day, because instead of rolling out of bed and, snoozing a whole bunch of times and feeling anxiety about your day, imagine starting your day feeling inner stillness, feeling peaceful, feeling present. it just sets you off on the right foot.
And just like 10 minutes, that's all you need.
10 minutes, you can even start off with just 2 minutes. You just build up to it. Do a minute, do 2 minutes, build up to it until you can get through 10 minutes. Okay. My personal favorite is the Calm app. I absolutely love that app. There's so many different varieties of guided or, silent meditations. Find something that really resonates with you. Or if nothing else, then simply, set a timer and breathe until the timer goes off. Focus on your breathing. Just breathe in and breathe out. And that's all you're doing during this time.
So just be present in that moment. Don't do what I've tried to do in the past where I try to meditate right after I've woken up and I just fall right back asleep.
Exactly. So doing meditation right after waking up is not a reason to go back to sleep.
Exactly.
It's actually simply becoming aware and awakening yourself with that awareness.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about, step 2 of the routine, which is activation. Okay. So what does activation mean? It's a way to awaken your body, your mind, your spirit. Now, to awaken your body, this could be, working out, doing something that involves play, something that feels playful and, is a physical activity. It could even be a cold shower.
Right. Just shaking your body.
Just doing a few stretches or something. But this is not meant to be a replacement for your workout, okay? So this is not about going to the gym or anything. This is just, activating yourself. So you went from meditation where you're being present to now becoming physically and mindfully activated. So, personally, what I like to combine it with is whether it's stretches and affirmations and a cold shower, that combination is a really great way to just really feel awake. You're physically alert, your mind is alert, and you're saying affirmations that pumps you out and activates your vision.
Right. And the energy levels are just ready to go.
Exactly. So it's not just your physical energy, your mental energy, your optimism, your excitement for the day kicks in, as opposed to the opposite where it's filled with dread and sort of fatigue, of, gosh, I've got a long day. I don't even know how I'm going to get through this. It's the opposite. You feel excited, pumped up.
Ready to go. Okay.
Exactly. So that's step number 2 is activation. Now, step number 3 is gratitude.
Okay.
So a beautiful way, again, to take on whatever comes your way, throughout that day is to express gratitude for at least 3 things. And, you may express gratitude for your health, your family, your
waking up that morning,
good fortune. But it's even more powerful when you can find the most ordinary 3 things to be grateful for. Because it's easy to be grateful for the big blessings, right? What's harder is to be grateful for the little things that we start to take for granted.
Right.
Like, for example, when was the last time you expressed gratitude for your hands? Because like, let's say your fingers. I mean, I'm a writer. Without having hands or fingers, I couldn't type or write or hold a pen. When was the last time I expressed gratitude for that?
Right. Okay.
Or when was the last time you expressed gratitude for having eyesight, that you can see things.
Or being able to speak and record podcasts.
Right.
Exactly.
Whatever that might be, find 3 things, maybe 3 different things every day, so you don't fall into the pattern of just repeating something without feeling the full sense of gratitude and meaning in it. So find 3 things to express gratitude for, whether you do it as prayer, whether you do it as simply, again, just saying out loud, that you are grateful for whatever it is you have in your life. I think it puts you in a state that then empowers you to be grateful for whatever comes your way. So if it is something good that happens, you're going to have a more positive attitude about it, and you're going to see it as a miracle, and not just taken for granted and not feel entitled to that good thing happening. On the other hand, if something bad happens, you'll also be grateful for the lesson you learned through that process, or that you are still alive despite that bad thing happening, or being grateful for your strength to endure. Right. So simply having that attitude of gratitude puts you in the right mindset to take on your day.
Okay. Attitude of gratitude. What's the next step?
So the next step is step number 4, which is inspiration. Okay. So what does inspiration mean? It means find some way to get inspired for whatever it is you plan to do that day, right? So hopefully you have a clear vision of what you want in your life. Maybe you have hopes and dreams and aspirations. Well, inspiration builds that momentum to keep going every day towards that vision.
Right.
So if you like to read, this is a good way, to dedicate 5 minutes, just 5 minutes every single morning to read just one page of something that you find inspirational. Maybe it's your favorite inspiring book, right? And you don't have to read the whole book or the whole chapter or anything of that sort. Just read one page, one paragraph, something that grabs your attention and inspires you in that moment. If you're not a reader, well, you can listen to something inspiring.
Right.
It could be your favorite song that pumps you up, that motivates you. It could be a podcast. It could be an audiobook, whatever that is. Or you could watch your favorite motivational YouTube video or go, follow your favorite Instagram channel that has inspiring quotes, like the Beyond Barriers channel that has lots of inspiring quotes. Just go look at that and read something that fills you with inspiration in that moment.
Sparks that inspiration.
Right. Now, why is that important? Because, when we read something, it's just a reminder. When we listen to something, watch something, read something, it's just a subtle reminder that sparks that motivation back in us, right? So before you begin to take action, and, it's important to remind ourselves that yes, we can. Yes, it's within us. And here's why. And also feel inspired by other people's stories that have done it before us.
Exactly.
All right. So now step number 5 is commitment. So this is where, instead of focusing on the million tasks and all the meetings on your calendar or the 1,000 emails in your inbox, you step back and you pick the one thing that you're going to commit to that should be your core focus for that day. Okay. And you write it down, ideally in your journal. If you keep a daily journal, or if it is something you just write down in your Evernote or whatever that might be, but you take 5 minutes to think about the most important thing for you to accomplish that moves you towards your North Star. And you simply write that down, and you write down why that matters. So for example, you may have a really busy day with lots of meetings and lots of emails to get through, but you know that in order to move towards your goal, maybe it's that one conversation, one phone call that you need to make that's the most pivotal thing. So all you're going to write down is, today I commit to making that phone call and asking for help from this person. And here's why that's important, because it helps me achieve the next step of my goal. So you write down that commitment and you clarify what is the most important thing for you to accomplish that day. Okay. So through this, as you can see in this 5-step process, you start off with meditation to become present and stop worrying about the past or focusing on the future. You get really present. Step 2, you activate your body through, physical activity, a shower or whatever that might be, or you say your affirmations. Step 3, you express gratitude for at least 3 things. And ideally, there are 3 ordinary things that you're grateful for. Step 4, you get the inspiration by reading, watching, or listening to something that sparks that motivation in you. And step 5, you identify the most important focus for the day and you commit to it by writing it down in your journal or capturing it somewhere. So if you think about meditation, activation, gratitude, inspiration, commitment, it spells magic.
Oh, magic. The magic morning. That's right. That's amazing. I love that. Now, that's great. Magic mornings sound amazing to me, but what if we have one of our listeners thinking, that sounds great and all, but I just don't have the time for it? What then?
Well, that's a great point. So if you're thinking, well, this is a great framework, it sounds magical, but it's for people that don't have as many responsibilities as I do, that aren't juggling as much as I do. If you're thinking that, I want you to step back and consider the fact that the world's most successful people do this and they create time for this. And so if the busiest people can do this, then any one of us can.
That's so true.
Because if there are people running trillion-dollar companies and have a whole lot of responsibilities that are still creating space for this, and this is literally what they say makes them successful, then it's even more important that if you find yourself in a frenzy and constantly frazzled, perhaps what you're missing is this kind of routine and this kind of ritual. And, the other question to ask yourself is, what kind of life do you really want to lead? Do you really want the kind of life where you can give yourself the gift of even 30 minutes of this kind of magical beginning and that you don't deserve that? Or do you want to be the kind of person who rewards themselves as soon as they wake up with this kind of beginning, right?
That's right. So, okay, everyone, let's all start practicing some magic. And let's try this out for a week and then let us know how you feel, because you deserve every morning to be magical. So start now, and in a week, let us know how you're doing. Make sure you go visit iambeyondbarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all of the resources in this episode. Thanks for listening. There are thousands of podcasts out there, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to listen to ours. Visit iambeyondbarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources referenced in this episode. And be sure to take the quiz on the website. Your score will tell you where you are, what helps you gain momentum, and what holds you back. You'll also get a free guide with cutting-edge career strategies. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your comments and topic suggestions on iambeyondbarriers.com. And we'll be sure to address them in future episodes. If you enjoyed our show today, please subscribe and rate the podcast, or just tell a friend about it. See you next episode.